The news broke out that Kurt Sutter had left his role with the Abandons. He was no longer in charge of the show, and that got us all excited because everybody was thinking the same thing. Could we possibly see a Sons of Anarchy spin-off? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. We're praying for it. We hope it happens, and now that Kurt Sutter once again has no show, maybe he will go back to his roots. Maybe he will go back to what worked. Maybe he will go back to what made him successful and do an SOA show. One can only hope. Now, there's two real options. You've got the first 9, you've got Abel and Thomas. It has to be one of them. He's already experimented with Mayans MC. It was fun, but it wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't the Suns level, and I think these two shows could be at a Suns level. Now, 153 votes were casted. 41% want first 9. 59% want Abel and Thomas. First of all, I am very surprised that more people are interested in Abel and Thomas than they are first 9. For me, I think the first 9 shows got potential to be way better with all of the existing characters and all the storylines that you can tell. You can basically show the formation of the club. You could maybe show Clay in his time in the war, show Gemma falling out of love with JT, Clay and Gemma getting together. We can see the negotiations with JT wrestling with his conscience, trying to get the club away from guns. Clay trying to keep the club in guns. We could maybe get some IRA, go back to Belfast. We could get to see JT in Belfast. I think there's so much they could do with the first 9. And, I mean, we could see characters that we haven't seen before, and we could flesh them out, and we could put faces to these names that obviously may have arose in the original Sons of Anarchy. So for me, I think the first 9 is a much better choice. I think for me, I want to see it. Second of all, I think a first 9 doesn't necessarily ruin Sons of Anarchy, the original show. If we get an Abel and Thomas show, then it kind of means all Jax's hard work is for nothing, because he wanted to make sure that his sons got away from this and that they would never grow up and be in this. So if we get Abel and Thomas, that kind of means Jax's death was for nothing and it didn't have the effect that it was supposed to. But again, Gemma did give them the ring, so I mean, there was a hint that potentially this could happen. I think Kurt Sutter left that open on purpose to potentially do something in the future. And I understand, look, with Abel and Thomas, I think the most interesting thing about a sequel is you don't know what's going to happen next. As good as First 9 could be as a prequel, you just know certain things can't happen. It was like Better Call Saul. There's just certain things you know can't happen because of Breaking Bad. So prequels always have that sort of disadvantage where there's only so many stories they can tell. Like in a prequel, we know that Clay isn't going to die. We know that Gemma isn't going to die. We know the moment that JT is going to die, so up until that moment, we know he's not going to die. You know things. Unser, you know he's not going to die. But I still think that First 9, for me, is a lot more interesting, and I would rather see it than Abel and Thomas. But right now, if you offered me Abel and Thomas, guys, I would 100% take it. I would take any form. I'll be honest, I would even take Mayans Season 6. Give me it. I'll take it. Give us some good shit, Kurt. I mean, come on, Kurt Sutter. We're desperate for it. We need it. Anyway, let's get into the comments. Let's see what you guys say. Casey Gain says, Abel and Thomas should be called the Secret Tellers. It's not a bad name. I was thinking you could potentially call it the Sons. You know, it's a play on, obviously, Sons of Anarchy. They are the sons of Jax. I think the Sons is pretty simple, but I think it could work. But the Secret Tellers I also like. I think they're both good names. John Mendes said neither. Alright, John, have it your way, but most of us actually do want to see some SOA content before we die. Rooms8853 says, Abel and Thomas, 2 kids from a broken family, born in 10MC. Yeah, I mean, it could definitely work, but I don't know how much of a time skip they would need to do. I mean, would they both be in the club? Would they be prospecting? I mean, I think it depends. I mean, there's not a massive age gap between the two, so it's interesting. I mean, if they do Abel and Thomas, does that mean we can get the return of a Chibs? Can we get the return of a Tig? We know we can't get the return of Happy, because unfortunately, Happy's dead, but, you know, we could also see the return of some iconic characters. with Abel and Thomas, which would make it very interesting. If we do get Abel and Thomas, and if they do both join the club, which I imagine they would, because I don't think you could have an SOA spin-off show if the main characters weren't in the club. But still, if we did, then would Chib still be the leader? I don't see why not. Could we get Tommy Flanagan back? I would like to think so. Santino Wilson said, watching a series about Abel and Thomas would ruin the ending of Sons. Clearly a first 9 series would absolutely kill it. Watching Clay and Gemma slowly gel together, watching Clay's plot to kill John pan out, could even heavily involve the IRA. Absolutely agree. I think that'd be much better, but I'm at this stage now where I would take the Abel and Thomas stuff. Raquel says Abel president, Thomas vice president. I think it's highly unlikely that we're going to get a show and they start off as pres and vice pres. There would need to be a big time skip because they're still, they were young when they left. I mean, I just think it's a bit unrealistic that they would both rise to those ranks. But I mean, I guess they could because of who, their father was. But I would imagine that if we do get it, they're going to start off as like, I think one would start off as a prospect maybe, and the other one a patch member. Or maybe even Abel would be a prospect and Thomas wouldn't even be in the club. See, that's something you could do. Both of them wouldn't have to be in the club. Or maybe we could have Abel not be in the club and Thomas decides he wants to join the club against Abel's wishes and, Abel's not happy about it. There's loads of stuff they could do. And I just hope we get to see something. Michael Folger says, got to be the first 9. See the mayhem from the beginning. Agreed. I would love to see it. And like I said, think of all the interesting characters that you can bring back that were in the show. You've got your Unser, you've got your Clay, you've got your JT, you've got Gemma. Then you've got all the other characters that we never really seen or never heard from in the show. Lenny the Pimp, we could get him in there. I don't know about the timeline, but I'm not quite sure about Otto and Tig. Maybe they could join towards the later end of the series. So I still think there's a lot of good stuff that they could do there. And then you got like the Mayans, the war with them, the Niners. I would like to see all these other groups. I think it'd be great. You factor in the IRA, Maureen Ashby. It's like lots of good stuff they can do. So hopefully we get it. All Link says an Abel and Thomas sequel would remove the whole point of the Sons of Anarchy ending. I do agree with that. I do think that would kind of kill the end, and that's the only thing that disappoints me about that one. Jeff Dollar says Abel and Thomas would be cool if they had them riding dirt bikes, they trigger woods, and they ran into Gemma's ghost, and they showed them where the bodies were buried. But I'm first 9 all the way, but I can be talked into Abel and Thomas. Same. I want first 9, but I can accept if we get Abel and Thomas. But I would prefer first 9. Red Outlaw says, I think first 9 would be cool, but we already have a rough idea of what would happen in the show. If we were to only get one, I would say Jax's Sons. There are still stories there, I feel. That's what Red Outlaw says. And that's where we're going to end it, guys. I get it, there is a story with Jax's Sons, but it kind of does ruin the ending. And for me, we know a little bit of what happened in the years before Sons of Anarchy started. But I just think it'd be so much better if we could flesh it out and dedicate like 4, 5, 6 seasons, to the beginning where it all started. I think that'd be fantastic with the JT stuff and the Clay stuff and all that good stuff. So I hope we get first 9. I would certainly accept Abel and Thomas. I just hope we get something with Kurt Sutter now no longer being in the Abandons, and hopefully we do, because Kurt Sutter shows are something that I think we need in life. Aye, so that's it, guys. Till next time. Peace.